assumed was done digitally in the edit after the film had finished, but I was wrong. Just have a look at this. This is actually a scale model of this scale model, which has been used on the previous Harry Potter films.
Hogwarts has always existed as a model. There's a beautiful model at Shepperton Studios. It's huge. It's been made by all these model makers with great love and attention. We would have these 3 or 4 or 5, 6-week shoots with this model unit filming these very intricate shots of Hogwarts.
But this time we built it all digitally, and that gave us much more flexibility. Another aspect was we wanted to travel through the castle in a way that we hadn't before, join things together and see more of it than we had before.
So this has taken an awful lot of time. We started towards the end of 2008 by scanning the actual real model that was built and used for previous films. We photographed all of the textures from that model. And then we did sort of several days of surveying real castles and buildings in England and Scotland, taking lots of real stone textures and architectural details, such as the windows and the leading and all of the sort of drain pipes, everything that makes a building look real. And then we brought all that together and spent over a year rebuilding Hogwarts in the computer and adding all the detail and texture that would allow us to basically fly the camera from a mile away from the school all the way in through a window, and the resolution would actually hold up on screen.
Once inside Hogwarts, the CGI model blends seamlessly with the sets we all know and love. A welcoming sight for our heroes after months on the run. When Harry, Ron and Hermione finally return to Hogwarts, it's the beginning of the end. But whereas in the past, their arrival back at school has always been greeted with a certain amount of ceremony on trains, strange creatures and automobiles, this time they have to sneak through a secret passage to avoid detection by the Death Eaters. Now, the good news is it's connected to a pub down that end. The bad news is I've got no idea how to get down.
Hey, listen up, you lot. Brought you a surprise.
Not more of before it's cooking, I hope. Be surprised if we can digest it. Flying.
They find themselves here in the Room of Requirement, where Dumbledore's army, as you can see, have been camping out, waiting for Harry to lead them into battle against Voldemort and the Death Eaters. Just looks so different from the last time we saw it. I love it.
It's kind of like the Lost Boys, you know, like there's like hammocks and sleeping bags everywhere and radios, and it's kind of like this secret gang, which is really cool. We meet up with Neville, who's kind of like heading the DA, Dumbledore's army, while Harry's been gone.
Lightning has struck. I repeat, lightning has struck.
What's the plan, Harry?
And they all want to fight, so they all, obviously, you know, this is the moment they've been waiting for. Harry's return, they're ready for action, they want to, you know, help with the cause.
OK, let's not kill him before you with it.
One of my favourite characters in these next 2 films is Matt Lewis, Neville. All the while he's been a kind of bumbling... kind of, yeah, a bit useless and doesn't really, you know, who wants him in your army?
Expelliarmus!
He leads the army this time, and he really, you know, when Harry has his short lapse and he's not there, he really, you know, stands up and does one of those sort of Braveheart speeches, you know, they may take our lives, it's great. I was getting teared up even though I was on the other side. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's nice to see a lot of these, again, I call them kids. None of us are kids anymore, but we're all turning into these adult characters now.
Men.
It is men. Well said. That's the best way forward. Well, maybe not my character. He's still a bit sheepish.
He's got a way to go, hasn't he?
He has. Many a year.
Dan, I've been on this set so many times, and I've never experienced it with everybody in the hall.
Yeah.
It's a great atmosphere, isn't it?
It is. It's a really great atmosphere.
And tell us what exactly is going on.
This scene basically is the start of the battle, essentially. Harry sneaks into the Great Hall, and I'm just sort of standing there being quiet, and then I reveal myself to Snape, and then we have a bit of a row, and then a huge fight breaks out between McGonagall and Alan Rickman, which is great, with Maggie and Alan Rickman, which is great fun.
At that point, you've just emerged in front of all the students, and they're all quite excited to see you because their hero has come back.
Absolutely, it is the hero enters. It is that, it's, you know, and it should be a really exciting moment, especially because I've got some great action movie lines in this scene.
Give me some.
Which are, it seems because Snape has been kind of going on about how they have put exhaustive defensive strategies in place to stop Harry from coming in. So my line is,
it seems, despite your exhaustive defensive strategies, you still have a bit of a security problem, Headmaster.
Turn round, doors open, cavalry comes in, turn back, and I'm afraid it's quite extensive. It's great, you know? You know, I won't be playing action heroes forever, and so you really have to enjoy it when you get those kind of Indiana Jones moment
The
lines.
big blockbuster line.
Right, why
That's
not?
the line you're going to live
Enjoy it,
by.
absolutely. But then we feel you know, the air gets colder, and suddenly we feel, or I feel it first, the presence of Voldemort in the room. And then I hear Sian, who's playing Maisie, our young girl, scream. And I rush over to see where the scream's coming from, and then I find myself in the middle of the room. At this point, Voldemort is talking to all the students in their heads. Not actually in the room, but actually inside each individual student's head, giving this speech.
Give me Harry Potter.
I think the word he uses, no magical blood will be spilt if you give me Harry Potter. And so then the room sort of all looks round at me like, are we going to let you die?
What are you waiting for? Someone grab him! I mean, this is the first time you really feel like the battle is beginning. The suits of armour come to life, and they help with the attack, and the ghosts, and there's this kind of all of Hogwarts comes together and against Voldemort. So it's a really epic battle.
Get inside! Take cover!
A significant chunk of the film is taken up with this epic battle. It takes place all over Hogwarts. And I've always wondered how they do it, how they take the words off the page and turn it into stuff like this.
One of the most complex things about the final battle, as we began to call it, was the scale of it. So in order to prep and design the shots that David wanted, we have to do a lot of what we call pre-visualization, where we build simplified models of the environments, create lots of characters and extras, and then we plan and animate large amounts of the sequences so that we can design the action and the things that we're calling virtual, which in this case was everything outside the courtyard of the school. So that included hundreds of Death Eaters, the giants, the spiders, the Dementors, the CG creatures. The process to pre-visualise such a large amount of work took over 9 months. It was nearly a year's worth of work with a small team of about 5 people. It looks extravagant because we're having to animate the whole sequence, but it's basically a really useful tool for everyone to understand what's going to happen and prep and plan and then shoot the necessary elements accordingly.
For all that high-tech, state-of-the-art CGI, there are some things at the heart of the destruction of Hogwarts that are distinctly old school.
Sid, tell me a little bit about what you boys are doing, because it looks like you're making rubble.
We're making rubble out of polystyrene blocks, which are fire retardant as it happens. We start off with the process of getting the sand on the bed, sifting it to make sure it doesn't have any lumps and bumps in it, and then we bring our rock bag up here and we dip it into dipping latex.
This is the latex you found here?
This is dipping latex. And this bath here takes about the biggest size you possibly can get in a block. Each side's the drain tank, and when it's ready, as it were, drained off, then we bring it back to the bench and carefully coat it with sand.
So, this looks like a great fun process, but why on earth are you doing it?
Because if on the set itself, you wouldn't be able to move a ton of rocks just like that. But this way, a guy can move fill a bag up and he, in theory, has a ton of rocks.
It took the rubble makers 3 months to make 400 tons of fake debris. Then it took 10 people 3 weeks to dress it into the set.
I love destroying things. Is there a part of you that gets very satisfied when you think, right, we're going to take something? I mean, how do you go about dismantling this? Is it, I know you don't, this is all careful, but is someone actually got a mallet or a hammer at some point and